name is Walt. It's time to discover Saipan. With Mike Payne and Jean Caroon. And this is your first time on Saipan, correct?
Absolutely.
And why are you here?
Well, we wanted a nice vacation, but we chose Saipan because there's a family connection to Saipan. That would be my father, who during the Second World War was stationed here, was being part of the United States Navy.
All right. And what in particular were you searching for?
In having grown up and heard a lot from him about Saipan, impression that the experience made on him, was really looking to see if we could identify where his camp had been, where he had been stationed.
Okay.
And as part of doing that, it turned into quite a mystery and an exploration, because although we had papers and photographs from him, they all needed to be interpreted and collated to actual scenes and places on the island.
Okay.
And we relied heavily upon Walt and his knowledge of the island in helping us find those places.
And what was your father's name?
His name is Frederick J. Payne.
Frederick J. Payne.
And he was a lieutenant, junior grade, from early 1944 to the disembarkation or the dissolution of the camp at the end of 1945.
Okay, so he came to Saipan. He wasn't part of the actual invasion in June of 44. So he came afterwards, as you said, as part.
He was part of securing the island. He was in charge of training for the anti-aircraft task force that was here stationed on the west side of the island.
All right, and you have something that was really unique when you contacted me. You shared photos of the camp. You shared photos of your dad. You used to,
Yes.
So it made it very. It was challenging in that a lot has changed over the years, the intervening years. But we were able to locate the with 99% certainty the site where your father actually was.
Yeah, it was very fortunate to find you, being not just a regular tour guide who would walk us around the island, but was curious and wanted to take on a project, willing to take on the project, understanding in a way that, quite frankly, we didn't, in terms of how different things would have been.
Exactly.
Over, since 1945 and now. It's a tropical island we're not familiar with in terms of its vegetation, but everything was overgrown. And so it was very fortunate to have the assistance of you and your contacts to be able to tell us about how things had changed and help us roll back the sands of time, as it were.
What was interesting, as you said, is in order to get to the point that we had to recruit the assistance and the knowledge and the expertise of quite a few people on the island. We spoke to the Historic Preservation Office. We spoke to people at the land registration. We recruited Don Farrell, who's a noted historian here on the island. Doug Brennan, who's lived here since he's 18 months old. We spoke to people at the museum. You spoke to people at the NMI Museum. We also spoke to the archivist Ray Munya at Northern Marianas College. So quite a few people got involved in helping us identify that location with a certain degree of accuracy. Did I leave anyone out?
I think that was the list.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it just made it just so interesting to meet people who live on the island, and they were also generous with their time, which would have only happened because of you connecting us.
Thank you very much. And we also toured Tinian today as well, and that was we can talk about it. What did you think of the Tinian experience?
I've been fascinated with World War II history and with what happened at the end of the war to end the war in terms of not only the creation of the atomic bomb, but also ultimately how it came to be delivered. And Tinian was a big part of that. And I knew about that the B-29s were stationed here and they took off from here. And there were 2 different missions. And to be able, there was, to me, kind of a sense of history that involved being in a place. I've always enjoyed that wherever we've toured, to know that there's history in a place and get to experience it firsthand by going to the places where it graphically demonstrates what happened there. And it's a way of bringing it more to life. And definitely going to Tinian, seeing the 2 pits and the 2 bombs, and that was part of bringing it to life, which is a great part of satisfaction on any tour, I think.
Now, on a personal level, I will add that what makes you guys very special, at least in the history of the Discover Saipan tour cockpit and the YouTube channel, is that you actually contacted me through Gene. Gene contacted me more than 2 years ago.
We had a hard time pinning down our dates.
Right. But it allowed a certain amount of interaction in the interim, and building, even though we can talk every day, it sort of built an anticipation of your arrival. So after all this time, finally I got to meet you, but I'm really glad that we were able to find the location with the degree of accuracy. One of my main concerns, as I told you before you got here, is I wanted to modify your expectations so that you weren't disappointed with what you found. But in my opinion, I think we did a good job of pinning it down. We found the quarry that your father had in the photographs identified. We found the current topography of that area matched. We could make a direct match between that and what's there today with a certain degree of accuracy. So I was actually relieved when I did a little advanced research and was able to identify that we were at the right spot. At least I knew he would go home with a certain amount of satisfaction as opposed to being disappointed by it.
Absolutely.
By how things.
I think my father did save quite a few of his photographs. They weren't large scale, very detailed, but at the same time it was enough to get a sense of where's the coastline, what was the topography like at the camp where the guns were set up, what was above the camp up in the hills, to be able to see those things. And then it was like taking those images and matching them against the existing background there, the physical reality. And as you say, even though a lot of changes had been made to it, talking to people that educated us on what could happen in this kind of a climate, and how quickly things and dramatically things can change. That's part of the Rosetta Stone of figuring out, oh yeah, this photograph matches this, even though they're similar but very distinct as well.
Now you have close to 24 pictures taken by your father in 1944 or the 5.
Okay.
On some of those pictures he has notations as far as what we're looking at and where these are located. And to publicize a little bit of your family personal business here, he wrote letters to your mom.
Yep.
Right?
Who was his fiancée at the point.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And every day he wrote a letter to her, and she saved all the letters.
Okay.
Now, she responded to him every day, although for circumstances of his logistics and difficulty in saving things, he wasn't able to preserve those. So primarily the information that we were hearing was my dad's experience
Right.
on the island, at the men that he was working with, what his responsibilities were, but also bringing into focus some of the local color in terms of customs and the vegetation. And I think his letters gave pretty much a full rounded sense of what it was like for somebody that was half a world away from where he had grown up in Cleveland, Ohio, to a completely different world, and how he reacted to that, and how he shared that with my mother from a long distance.
Now I know that Don Farrell, who we got a chance to meet in Tinian, said this to you, so I'm going to put a little more pressure on you as well, and also recruit our viewing audience to put some pressure on you as well, that the letters you have, the photos you have, the documentation that your father provided is invaluable for not just for researchers like Don, but for the average person who has seen documentaries, who has watched movies on the war, but has never had a first-hand account, a day-to-day first-hand account from someone involved in World War II, written from his perspective, written in his voice, to actually express what he was feeling during the war, the things he saw. So when you get around to publishing those for the rest of the world to see, I'll share that with my audience. And if anyone watching this is curious to see what those letters were, if it doesn't violate any promises that were made, in your family, I'm sure there are thousands of people who would love to experience the war and that time in history through your father's eyes. So it's something that you may want to just consider. You don't have to answer now, but it's something that those of us here on this side are fascinated by accounts like that. So I'm thankful for you for sharing that now on film and sharing it with me. But if you ever think about extending your author career, because you also have an author background, you participate.
Well, Gene and I both had published books, and they my book had to do with an overseas living experience in Nepal, which for 7 years I lived there, and it was associated with living in a community up in mountains. It is very, in some ways, similar to some of the, out of the way, lack of convenience type of living that I think my father kind of experienced as well.
And you were in the Peace Corps as well.
Yes, that was with the Peace Corps.
That was with the Peace Corps. And what was the title of that book?
It's called Far from the Road. Far from the Road.
And you are among several authors of that?
Yes, there's 3 other authors that were all part of the project there. The book, just as a plug, it's available on Amazon.
Excellent.
Both as a blue book and in print as well. Excellent. For anybody that wants sort of inside peek at what it's like to run a community healthcare facility, development facility at 10,000 feet up in the Himalayas, it's a peek behind, that kind of reality.
Excellent. And Gene, any words for the folks in Saipan who are watching? What was your experience like here?
I just think we were very lucky to find you, Walt, and it made we had 2 of the most memorable days in all our travels, thanks to you. And so we will hold these memories for a very long time.
I appreciate that, and it was really cool meeting you after all these years and getting to go through the project. So there's still a few unanswered questions we have. So as I promise all my clients, if there's a question I don't know the answer to, I keep it on my list and I do some research and follow up. So we'll get to the bottom of some of the unanswered questions.
Excellent. Thank you. We totally trust you in that. You've gone above and beyond so far. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing that. And I'll see you guys watching. See you guys in the next video.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Watch you like you're on my wrist. Come on, boy,
you know what it might say.